students, welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Kyoto Protocol. So I see a lot of times questions are directly asked from various protocols, various COPs that happen. What is COPs? Conference of Parties, right? So there are full forms being asked in your environment in the paper related to environment, and of course there are COPs or the protocols that become important. So I see questions from Kyoto Protocol, Montreal Protocol, there are Kigali Agreement that is important, there is Paris Agreement that is important. In this video, we are going to talk about the facts, various things that are related to Kyoto Protocol, and I see directly questions are asked from it. Let us talk about Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is the first international treaty to set legally binding targets to cut the greenhouse emissions. Now, we all know that there are greenhouse gases present in our environment, but as we saw that the greenhouse gases and the emissions are increasing at a particular state, and this becomes important, this becomes very harmful for us. We need to limit the emissions of these gases. So, we started with this protocol that is called as the Kyoto Protocol, and this is a conference of party as well. It is the first international treaty and it has set legally binding targets. That means that if you do not fulfill it, you will be penalized. Non-legally binding means if you do not follow it, then also it is okay, you are not penalized for that. But if it is legally binding, then you are penalized if you do not fulfill the targets. Kyoto Protocol is basically associated with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. UNFCCC basically started with the number of COPs, that is the Conference of Parties. Each year, various countries who are the part of it decided that they will be meeting at different places. So this time they met in Kyoto, that is there in Japan. So the name was Kyoto Protocol that they started. Kyoto Protocol was adopted on 11th December 1997 in Kyoto, that's there in Japan. It came into force. So it was adopted on 11th December 1997, but it came into force in 2005 and it was ratified by 192 parties. These are the things that you have to remember. First international treaty to talk about the greenhouse gases, right? It is talking about the emissions of the greenhouse gases. You have to remember this. Then there are legally binding targets and it is under the umbrella of UNFCCC. Also, the dates become important. Then, what are these greenhouse gases about which this protocol is talking? This protocol talks about 6 greenhouse gases. The first is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride. These are the 6 gases about which this protocol talks. So, first carbon dioxide, then we have methane, then we have nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride. Please write this down. These are the 6 greenhouse gases, and the questions are also asked that what all are the greenhouse gases that are associated with it. Okay, now let us see the in-axis based structure. So, according to the in-axis A, what happens? It talks about the developed countries. So, the developed countries have this common but differentiated responsibility and respective capability. So, it is said that as they are the developed countries, maximum amount of pollution is done by them. So, they hold the most responsibility. So, common but differentiated responsibility and respective capability is something that is allotted to them. Then, in axis B, the Kyoto Protocol sets the binding emission reduction targets for the 37 industrialized countries and economies in transmission and the European Union. These targets add up to average of 5% of the emission reduction. And which level we are comparing to? We are comparing it to the 1990 level over the 5 years. And over 5 years, we are going to look at the emission targets. It is from 2008 till 2012. This is the first commitment period of Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol has 2 commitment period. It starts from 2008 to 2012 and then from 2013 to 2020. This is the second commitment period. And this time they met at Doha. So this would be called as the Doha Amendment, right? Doha Amendment in 2013. Let us read this again because this is a very important slide. So according to Annexus A, which talked about developed countries, there is common but differentiated responsibility, right? Jiski jitni responsibility hai, you are liable to do those things according to that. That is common but differentiated responsibility. Annexus B talked about industrialized countries, 37 industrialized countries and economies, and they are going to set their binding emission and the reduction targets. This is Annexus B. Then the average of the 5% of the emission reduction is compared to the 1990 levels, and for 5 years they are going to look after it from 2008 to 2012. Then according to this Annexus only, there can be trading of the emissions. Like if the developed country is doing a lot of emissions and the developing country is not emitting that much, then they can trade the things, trade the emission targets between themselves. This is called as the market-based mechanisms. In class, we have in greater detail discussed all of these. There are 3 market-based mechanisms. We have international emission trading, we have clean development mechanism, CDM, and we have joint implementation. They establish the flexible market mechanism which are based on the trading of the emission permits that are there. So emission permits can be traded between different countries, developed or developing. What are the 3 market-based mechanisms? International emission trading, clean development mechanism, and joint implementation. Then we have the second commitment period. It starts from 2013 and it is going to last till 2020. As I told you, they are going to meet again in Doha. So it is called as the Doha Amendment. The Doha Amendment, that is to the protocol called as the Kyoto Protocol only. So in Doha, Qatar, on 8th December 2012, the Doha Amendment to the Kyoto Protocol was adopted. It was the second commitment period that is going to start from 2013 and go till your 2020. This is the second commitment period. Then let us quickly discuss the things. So we have 192 countries or parties that are there in the Kyoto Protocol. We have 84 countries that are signatories to it. Then we have 3 mechanisms that are there, and the protocol did not include ozone depleting substances, right? So this protocol only talks about the greenhouse gases. It does not talk about the ozone depleting substances, ODS. ODS, ozone depleting substances, are the substances about which Montreal Protocol talks about. So a lot of students do this blunder in the paper. Do not confuse yourself. Montreal Protocol is for the ODS, ozone depleting substances, the dirty dozens that are there that pollute the environment, and your Kyoto Protocol is talking about the greenhouse gases. These 6 greenhouse gases, that is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, and sulfur hexafluoride, right? So if you have any doubt, you can ask me that in the comment section. I'll give you a homework. Please write down a little bit about your Montreal Protocol, because that is also important, and about Paris Agreement. So in the comment section, please write at least 1 or 2 lines about Montreal Protocol and Paris Agreement, when they came into picture, when they were signed, when they came into force, and what are they talking about, right? So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any doubt, you can ask me that in the comment section and I'll surely reply to you. Thank you.